could XCN hypothetically reach the price of $1 this year in 2025? Hypothetically, I could see a scenario where that does happen. So arguably, I would say maybe yes, because here's the thing. Even though nothing I say is financial advice nor a guarantee, I believe that altcoins could very well peak near the end this year. And I'm not just saying this because I feel like it. I'm not just saying this because I had a dream about it. No, that wasn't the case. Historically speaking, as a worst case scenario, we do know that usually altcoins, they typically peak around a year and a half, otherwise around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event, which would actually mean around October this year based on the last Bitcoin halving event, which of course happened in April of 2024, so last year. And now, of course, this time around, will it be the same? Only time will tell because, of course, I can't take a look into the future, but I can take a look into the past. And again, when I take a look at something like that, this does excite me because even though this is not a guaranteed date, I do believe that if history were to hypothetically repeat itself, near the end of this year, it could be a very special time. And not to mention, when I take a look at Charles Hoskinson, who is the co-founder of Ethereum and the founder of Cardano, by the way, so a very real deal individual, we have to take a look back in November of 2024. We go back in time. What did he say back then? He said that 1 to 2 years from then, he could very well see Bitcoin reaching anywhere between $250,000 all the way up to $500,000. So that right there is either $250,000 all the way up to $500,000. Again, that's a very amazing amount. If let's say we assume his best case scenario timeline, so a year from November, so that of course is November this year, and we assume his worst case price prediction for Bitcoin, I'm not saying best case, I'm saying worst case, $250,000. At that point, let's say hypothetically, Bitcoin were to reach $250,000 in around November this year. Could you imagine what happens to XCN then? Even $1 may seem a little bit bearish at that point. And if anything, that best case scenario timeline prediction for Bitcoin, I think kind of fits in line really with when altcoins usually peak as a worst case scenario, which would actually mean around October this year, again, based on the example that I used before. So when I take a look at that near the end of this year, really, it could feel like a very special time to me. Now, only time will tell because it's still a number of months away. I'm totally aware of that. But the way to take a look at it is that, you know what? Around 6 months from right now, 7 months, let's say, this could maybe be a special time. However, only time will tell. But again, when people say, oh, Charles Hoskinson is talking about Bitcoin, he's not talking about altcoins, I'm totally aware of that. But usually Bitcoin does do that well. I'm hypothetically assuming that XCN is going to go along with the ride because something like XCN historically has proven to go along with the ride when the market is doing good. Take a look at the pump that XCN had not too long ago. I'm not talking about the pretty good recovery that we're seeing as of right now. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying the pump before then, right, when it was really euphoric. At that point in time, it has been known that, hey, when the market has a lot of attention, when there's a lot of, again, buying pressure, buying volume, XCN has been able to see some of that attention. And I think that's good news because other projects out there, they don't have this track record. They don't have this historical data to prove that they do, or should I say, they have done well during a time when the market is good. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that a project is not going to do good whatsoever if it, let's say, never gained attention before. It could still always gain attention in the future, theoretically. We just don't know. But when I take a look at XCN, we do know that historically it has done well. You know, there is data to prove that. We can just take a look at the price chart. So when I take a look at XCN, really, you know, I just view this as something very special. And keep in mind, if let's say XCN were to go to the price of $1, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $33 billion, around a 47x from here. Keep in mind, XRP not too long ago had a market cap of around $150 billion. And that was nowhere near, I think, even the hypothetical peak of what the bull run could be this time around. So imagine if XRP, even as of right now, has a market cap that is over $100 billion and not too long ago around $150 billion. Why can't XCN during a fully fledged bull run? I'm not saying in next week, I'm not saying next Tuesday or in the next 2 Mondays. I'm not saying that. I'm saying during a fully fledged bull run, let's say 6 or 7 months from right now, hypothetically. $1, that wouldn't seem too insane to me. That's just my perspective though, because people naturally, they want to look for the next big thing. They want to look for the next best thing. They want to look for alternatives. And some people may be thinking, what do you mean? Well, take a look at Ripple, aka XRP, and Stellar, aka XLM. They're massive. They're very amazing. During a fully fledged bull run, we know that a lot of attention is going to flow there. But it doesn't mean that some can't trickle down to the competitors, or should I say other alternatives, much like XCN. Keep in mind, XCN is never going to defeat XLM or XRP, but the way you take a look at it is that some people do view this as notable competitors to that, because when they take a look at the Onyx protocol, they could argue that, hey, it's very similar in nature to Stellar and as well as Ripple. They take a look at Goliath and they take a look at the potential of that. And Goliath, by the way, is this alleged, or should I say, going to be this maybe very amazing layer one blockchain for the world of finance. We'll see though, but only time will tell. But again, people view that as, hey, this is a very amazing project within this space that is at least trying to do something. Goliath, keep in mind, is planning to launch its mainnet in Q1 of next year. So that may seem like quite a while, but actually the good news is the fact that it's planning to launch the testnet in Q3 of this year. Now that's a little bit kind of in line really with when altcoins usually peak as a worst case scenario, even though it's not Q4, right? Who knows? Only time will tell. They're planning to do in Q3 of this year. But imagine, let's say the market is picking up again and it's doing pretty good. And then Goliath launches its testnet, or should I say the testnet of Goliath is launched. Could you imagine the type of attention? That could be the catalyst that we could very well need to allow XCN to reach that next level, to go really beyond that hypothetical barrier that some people think it can't cross or it can't exceed. This is why I like XCN so much. It's an only time will tell type of scenario, but really, I'm going to stay patient when it comes to this because I know that this is more of a marathon for me. What I'm acquiring when it comes to XCN as of right now, I'm not going to be able to do anything really with it in the next 1 or 2 weeks because I'm doing that by choice. I'm not going to do anything because I know the bull run isn't going to peak in the next 1 or 2 weeks. So what can I control? That is dollar cost averaging. So anytime I earn income, I'm acquiring, I'm holding, and I'm just waiting. That's it. It's a very simple and easy to understand concept really. But the way you take a look at it is that, you know what? I'm going to stick with that because I've been doing that throughout this whole time. And I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up like that. And also, some people out there seem to think that when it comes to Onyx, they think, it's a little bit gimmicky. It's kind of going off the hype of Ripple and Stellar. Well, what's wrong with that? Take a look at Pepe. Isn't that going off the hype of Dogecoin and Shiba Inu? Take a look at Book of Meme. Take a look at Dog with Hat. It's no different here. Take a look at Litecoin. I would arguably say that, hey, that fed a lot of, or should I say, got a lot of hype from something like Bitcoin. Nothing wrong with that. Litecoin is still one of the biggest projects out there. So when it comes to Onyx, I don't see what's so bad with it. When I take a look at something like XCN, there's a lot of major bullish factors going on moving forward. And I really can't wait. $1, that's still my price target for this bull run. And seeing that maybe hypothetically happen in 2025, that right there wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And I'm very bullish on XCN. And I think it's one of the best projects out there. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's Mali the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.